Good afternoon. I've had a bit of a change of heart of how I want to do today's vlog post. Originally I was going to talk about Renault Zoe and the upgrade that there's just been announced that's coming very soon. But then I started thinking a bit more about the Zoe and other electric cars, but in particular the Zoe, and the fact that I don't know an awful lot about it other than it's a cracking little electric car. And I got to having a little look on the internet about it and a little bit about its history. And I thought, why don't I show you a bit of that history? I'm sure some of you know all about it, especially those of you that own Zoes, but I was pretty clueless. So what I'm going to try and do today is something a little bit different, a little look back in time about where the concept for the Zoe came from, how it's evolved over the years, and where we are now with it. So it might be a bit geeky in places, but let's wait and see how it turns out. I've no idea yet. So our story begins in 2005 at the Geneva Motor Show. This is where Renault launched their new city car, the Renault Zoe. At the time they said it was a vision of small, dynamic, upper range urban car and a modern day expression of luxury in a compact format. Yeah, not even enough room for two people in the back, as you can see. Bear in mind, this is 2005. The top selling car in the UK was the Ford Focus, and the next best selling car was the Vauxhall Astra. Whilst this was an exciting new car for Renault, they had no intention of making this as an EV. That was until this man, Carlos Ghosn, came along. He was in charge at Renault at the time, and he put together the Davos Forum, which announced that Renault were going to make 4 pure electric vehicles, and the flagship model of that would be Project X10, which was going to be a super mini designed as an all-electric vehicle for the mass market. By January of 2009, the competition to find the designer for the new Renault Zoe began, with a simple brief that it should be friendly and reassuring for an innovative, responsible all-electric vehicle. Now initially the designers saw that an electric car was a great opportunity to effectively reinvent the car, but bit by bit they started coming back towards a more rational approach. In order to help focus the minds of the designers, the project design manager asked them to seek inspiration in the forces of nature and the elements. In the design offices they had pictures of intense stormy skies, raging seas and pure lines of winter. Eventually a winner was selected. It was Jean Semervier, excuse my French. He explained that his design had 2 key words behind it: purity and emotion. He explained that we wanted to design a car in motion and made for motion, where one line stops another begins. The design of Zoe was addressed as a whole, like a drop of water. It has no corners or cut-off points. Later in 2009, Laurens van den Akker arrived. He was one of the head designers, and he made some quite significant design changes to the front end, essentially to reflect the brand identity of the time. One of the interesting design features that was drawn in from the start and still remains today is the thumbprint on the rear door handle. That is essentially the thumbprint of Jean Semervier. Another interesting fact about the original concept was the collaboration that Renault had with L'Oreal. They designed an air freshener effectively for the cabin inside. So if it sensed that you were maybe getting a little thirsty, it would spray you lightly with mist. If it decided that there was a bit of a smell in the cabin, it would release a nice odour into the air.
We expect that this eruption will pose some localised hazards to air traffic in Iceland, but we envisage at the moment that it shouldn't have any far-reaching effects.
So we move forward now to 2010, and in the March of that year, customer tests began and they got some interesting feedback that led to a two-stage release. The first was a show car that was unveiled at the 2010 Paris Motor Show. And real credit to Renault here, because 90% of that original show car went on to be part of the second stage, which was the car that was put into full production for customers. And that second stage production car was finally unveiled in 2012 at the Geneva Motor Show. Following all the glitz and glamour of the motor show, we arrive in December of 2012 and the keys to the very first Zoe are handed over to its first customer. Arnaud Montebourg, the French Minister of Industrial Recovery. Although there seems to be some confusion, he seems to think he's got himself a Clio. No, Arnaud, that's a Zoe. And here we see him explaining to a local policeman where he's going to place him should he try and stop him whilst zooming around the streets of Paris. And zoom around he will, with a 22 kilowatt lithium ion battery and a 65 kilowatt electric motor. On its release, these were the only options the Zoe had. The battery could be rapid charged in 30 minutes, but it could also be charged by other means and could take up to 9 hours. Sales of the Zoe grew steadily through 2013 to 2016. And whilst these figures aren't going to set the world on fire, 59,500 units sold in that period was no mean feat. In 2014 you can see it began to outsell the Nissan Leaf, which can be argued was the only other like-for-like vehicle at the same price point in Europe at the time. But let's not get carried away. During that same period, Renault was selling over 300,000 Clios a year in Europe. And so in October 2016 we make our way back to the Paris Motor Show and the first real upgrade of the Zoe since it was first built. Oh, hang on, no, don't touch that! It's alright, it's only released the Zoe. And inside that Zoe is a 41 kilowatt hour battery, and it now comes with the model name, the ZE40. This bigger battery was developed by LG Chem and is assembled in Renault's Flins plant. According to the NEDC cycle range, it takes a range from 130 miles or 210 kilometers in the 22 kilowatt version up to 250 miles or 400 kilometers. Now Renault, not wanting to disappoint their customers, were a little more realistic. They said that the new 41 kilowatt hour battery would propel their customers to a range of about 190 miles in real driving conditions. And all that leads us back to here, the end of February 2018, and the announcement that started all this off for me. The announcement from Renault that they're going to put a new motor in the Zoe. It's going to be the R110, which is going to be 80 kilowatts. So it's going to be the same size and the same weight, but a boost of 12 kilowatts, which should see the car increase its 0 to 60 time by 2 seconds. Now, you may say at the same time, well, Nissan have just put a bigger motor in the Leaf. They've gone from the 80 kilowatt one to 110 kilowatts. Could that be the 80 kilowatt motor that Renault are now using? Well, they've gone to great pains to say that it's all built in-house, it's not from anywhere else, and it's their 80 kilowatt motor. So although they've got the alliance, although they haven't strictly denied it from what I can see, they are saying that it's their own motor. So that is a very, very welcome improvement because let's be honest, when they uprated the battery, we were hoping they're going to uprate the motor at the same time, and they didn't. So this kind of complements it really, really well, and now it's a much more rounded package. So what next for Renault and the Zoe? Well, we know there's an alliance between Nissan, Renault and Mitsubishi. That's all down to our old mate Carlos again. But Where's that going to take them? There's going to be some shared platforms, some shared thinking and ideas. There are a number of concept cars that Renault, as every other company, are putting out at the moment. But there's one they keep teasing. They keep showing us snippets of it. There's one that's out and about driving. It's what we want. This is what we want to see on the roads. And it's the e-sport. Now that brings today's very different video to an end. I'm hoping you've enjoyed it, because I've certainly enjoyed making it, albeit it has taken me substantially longer than any other video I've made. But it's been really interesting researching it, and I hope that you've got something from it. If you haven't, let me know. I won't do it again. I'll stick to, I was going to say what I do best, but what I'm trying to do best. I'll go back to my normal videos. But yeah, stick some comments down below. Let me know what you thought of it, whether it's something you'd like to see more of or less of. And yeah, we'll see what the future holds. But for now, thanks ever so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, remember to like and share it. And if you're not doing so already, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you again very soon. Take care.